Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Living in Light Church. We got started a little late today because today, as you can tell, it's our potluck. So the room's a little bit different today, is that we've got tables up and we've got food in the back, and so after services, we'll be partaking. For those of you that are watching this live, you're not going to get any food. I'm sorry. Is it rolling? Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So we're going to start with our opening hymn, and because it's Christmas time, we're going to start with the first Noel, which is on page 192. Oh, by the singing, okay.
Okay, I think we all know this.
So no cappella, yeah.
The first Noel?
Yes.
First Noel, the angels did say, was it certain poor shepherds in fields as they lay, in fields where they lay keeping their sheep on a cold winter's night that was so deep. Noel, 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 born is the King of Israel. They looked up and saw a star shining, lighting the east beyond them far, and to the east it gave great light, and so it continued by day and night. Noel, 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 born is the King of Israel. This dawn
The fourth. Oh, I can do that.
drew nigh to the northwest, Orient Bethlehem, it took its rest, and there it did both stop and stay, right over the place where Jesus lay. Noel, 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 born is the King of Israel. Then entered in those wise men free, most reverently upon their knees, and honor rare in presence, both gold and myrrh and frankincense. Noel, 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 born is the King of Israel.
Thank you, Tim, for leading us. So I would like to do the invocation now. Infinite Spirit, we come together to brighten our own spiritual lights in your presence. We thank Thee for the opportunities to learn our life lessons for a better understanding of unconditional love. We abide by the laws of nature and recognize their value. We understand the quest for spirituality may not be easy, but it is worthwhile. We thank you for providing the place for us to learn. We thank you for providing companions along the way. Amen. And if we will continue now with the reading of the principles, which is on the inside cover of your hymnals, we'll be reciting them together, starting with number 1. We believe in infinite intelligence. We believe that the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite intelligence. We affirm that the correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith constitute true religion. We affirm that the existence and personal identity of the individual continue after the change called death. We affirm that communication with the so-called dead is a fact scientifically proven by the phenomena of spiritualism. We believe that the highest morality is contained in the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. We affirm that the religion and that we may never as we obey and participate in nature's physical and spiritual laws. We affirm that the doorway to reformation is never closed against any soul, here or hereafter. We affirm that the precepts of prophecy and healing are divine attributes proven through mediumship. Thank you. I got a little lost there in number 7. I looked away and looked forward to, what line are we doing? We will now commence with the spiritual healing service, and I will have Avery come up for that. Okay, Avery?
Yep. Okay, we have a healing book for those that are unable to attend this service. If you know someone who you feel could use a healing, and you have not done so, please add their name to the list right this moment. As part of the healing service, we will be singing the healing hymn, and reciting the healing prayer. I will then ask the spiritual healers to station themselves at the healing chairs and invite those of you who wish to receive a hands-on healing. If you would like a healing but have trouble getting to one of our healing chairs, please raise your hand and a healer will come to you. Please be aware that healing is about working energy provided the spirits who have chosen the healing mediums to send their spiritual energy through. We will now recite the healing prayer found in the hymnal books on the very first page. I ask the great unseen healing force to remove all obstructions from my mind and body, and to restore me to perfect health. I ask this in all sincerity and honesty, and I will do my part. I ask this great unseen healing force to help both present and absent ones who are in need of help, and to restore them to perfect health. I put my trust in the love and power of God. Please remain seated now as we recite the healing hymnal to help get us into a higher vibration of healing space and energy. The healing hymn will be hymn number 109, title hymn number He Will Healeth Me, verses 1 and 2.
Try this thing one more time.
Try it one more time? Okay. And if not, we'll be doing an a cappella.
Yeah, it's not running.
It's not right? Okay, that's fine. One of those days.
Yeah.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. He healeth me, O blessed thought, O words with heavenly comfort fraught. Whate'er I do, where'er I be, still 'tis God's love that healeth me. my soul with love divine, to bind me closer still to thee, since 'tis thy love that healeth me. I now ask the spiritual healers to take their places at the healing chairs, which are now open for those who wish to receive a hands-on healing. The healers will ask your permission for the laying on of hands and will only touch your shoulders. If you do not feel comfortable with somebody touching you, please let the healers know and they will adjust themselves to make no contact. Hands are the focal point of spiritual energy, coming from the spirit world and passing through the healer's hands into the ones requesting to be healed. It is helpful for one in need to be mindful of the gift being shared and to think of themselves as being restored by this action. I will now invite Lynn up to for the rest of the healing.
Welcome and merry holiday season when the light is emerging from the darkness. We'll be sharing some musical sharings, but first we're going to take a deep breath and imagine that we can allow the hurriedness of this time of year to be released and draw that light that is both within and without into our being for this sharing here at Living with Light Independent Spiritualist Church. We're allowing music today to be a tool to help us make connections with the light. Drawing in the light, knowing that we're not alone, but we're surrounded by a band of angels and spiritual helpers. We send our light to them, especially those who've just crossed into spirit, for a peaceful and safe transition so that they may share their light with us for healing. And now we have a song. We invite you to meditate as the song unfolds.
Knowing who and what we are is the key. Spirit expressing in through and dance. Cursing the darkness won't do a thing to help us find our way. Through the confusion and into a better day. Let's try lighting a candle instead. The healing always begins with a new understanding and a release, knowing that it's done in the mind of the infinite. It's good enough to be true. we cannot survive. The life of the world is something anyone can choose to be. Knowing who and what we are is the key, and letting it be our way, and letting it be our way, and letting it be our way.
As we take in the energy of that original song that came from Spirit, continue to contact the light within you. Taking deep breaths, knowing that you are truth, you are beauty, you are divinity in expression. The creative force of infinite intelligence, Father, Mother, Source, is within you, all around you, and that you are an expression of divine healing. Take that into your body, mind, and heart, wherever you may most need it now. As we sing another song, just born this holiday season.
Stars in the heavens that are shining so bright. There were 2 stars in the heavens that light up the night. Those stars are our loved ones who passed on this world. They keep us from danger, their new wings unfurled. We're not alone though, some it may seem so. They keep the love light, if only in dreams so. Their stars in the heavens are shining so bright. New stars in the heavens that light up the night.
I lost my sweetheart, he left from this world, lost into sickness, and down I was hurled, till he came in a dream, and he kissed me at last. I knew it was he, and our love had not passed.
We're not alone though, to some it may seem so. They keep the love light, if only in dreams so. Their stars in the heaven are shining so bright. New stars in the heaven that light up the night.
to stay in the healing space as we complete our healings, and attune now to your loved ones and your teachers, your band of angels on the other side of life, who through you bring healing to others and also direct the infinite intelligence's healing of you.
Oh, I was about to speak without the mic. Yeah, it's so funny.
I didn't think of it either.
Well, Lynn and Tim, thank you very much for that beautiful music, beautiful uplifting music. I can already feel the spirit as they have already came in the room with us, and all the healing energy that is here with us today. So the healing list now. If I have forgotten to name any names that are not on this list, you may do so now. You may say it silently.
I'd like to ask for prayers for 3 people who passed in the spirit in the last weeks. One was David Boston, the other was Will Radcliffe, and there was a homeless man across the street from me who passed in his camper, and for their journey into spirit and safety.
And may they be peacefully in spirit. Amen. Huh? Oh, and Charles's mother, may she also be peacefully in spirit as well. We pray for everybody, and we are grateful for this healing service. We please send your healing energies to the children of this earth, emergency responders, doctors and nurses, and those in need. This now concludes the healing service of our service, and healers are free to sit when they are done performing their healing. Some of our healers are training to become commissioned healers and require a minimum of 3 affidavits as part of the requirement. If you received a beneficial healing, we ask that you fill out an affidavit at their benefit, which we have available. Thank you, everybody, for participating today, and thank you, healers. I'll now turn it back over to Reverend Monk.
Thank you, Avery. That was a real nice song, Lynn. I really like that song.
Well, I wrote it, you wrote the music,
Yes.
and if you want to see it, we have paintings with it, and it's free on YouTube. If you just give us your email, we'll send it to you as a holiday gift.
Thank you.
so much.
Thank you for that. And there was a lot of people on the healing list too, so I hope they all received that healing energy that they needed. I'm going to announce today's speaker, but before I do, I thought I'd share something a little amusing. Yesterday, I went to the Firehouse Subs. I'm sure you've all heard of that, the Firehouse Subs. It's a fairly new chain. There's one that opened up close to me, and I had coupons, so I went over there to go get it. And I was looking at the menu, and there was turkey bacon ranch. I thought, okay, that's what I'm going to order. So I said, can I have Berkey Taken Ranch? And I'm like, oh my. Now I need to tell you something about people that have dementia and Alzheimer's. They would not know the difference. To them, that was right. It's like, so I knew immediately I had done something wrong, so I had to correct myself. But I thought I wanted to share that with you. And then I said, because what name should I put down? I said, Bob. And he's like, oh, well, we have a special going on. It's like, if the first letter and the last letter of your name matches of your name, you get a free sandwich. Okay. So I got a free sandwich out of it. So thanks. So I wanted to share that with you. So yesterday was pretty good. I would like to announce our speaker today, which is Tim Mauro, who's our musician, but he'll be speaking for us today. And normally we would do a song, but I'm having technical problems, so we'll just proceed with Tim. If you'd like to come on up, please. Thank you.
We finally get to know what the music guy looks like.
Yeah.
Hope you're not too disappointed.
Not at all.
Okay, good morning. I'm so glad Reverend Bob was willing to have me give this talk at this time of the year as we move through what we commonly call the holiday season. When most of us were growing up, it was more common to call it the Christmas season, but that's changed in recent decades in our quest to be more inclusive with other cultures and traditions. Of course, we still have a lot of people who are thoroughly parochial in their thinking, who will hold on to the concept that Jesus Christ is the reason for the season, and the rest is all just blasphemy. I've even heard a few new thought teachers and spiritualists say, should we even be celebrating this, since we're not one of those Christians? Which I don't get, because it's important to remember that so many of the customs of this season that we take for granted these days are direct descendants of the customs that originated in Northern Europe and also the Roman Empire, all many centuries before there was any such thing as Christianity. You know, like in the Celtic and Germanic regions, they have the celebration of Yule or Yuletide. And the focal point of that celebration was normally December 21st, the shortest day of the year, which Lynn talked about just a few weeks ago, I believe. They bring in the Yule log, keep that ablaze, and houses were decorated with plants that thrived and stayed green through the winter months as most of nature died out, you know, the holly, ivy, and evergreens. And the traditions of singing songs and telling stories. And I heard the other day the tradition of giving gifts is believed to have originated with the Roman holiday Saturnalia. And then through the 3rd and 4th centuries, this new religion called Christianity began taking root in the Western world. And as the missionaries went through these regions, working at getting these people on board with this new religion, they were often met with the reaction of, well, this school of thought sounds intriguing, but if we're expected to give up our Yuletide and Samhain and rites of spring traditions, that would be a deal breaker. So the missionaries kept all those celebrations in place for the newly converted and re-tagged them with Christian symbolism. And they chose to make the Yule celebration the time to celebrate the birth of Jesus of Nazareth, as narrated in the Gospels of Luke and Matthew. So it became the Christ Mass, or Christmas. But whatever religious symbolism you attach to it, or whatever rituals or customs that you like to include in your holiday celebrations, the most important thing to look at is what the customs are pointing to. You know, my teacher, Dr. J. Scott Neal, used to advise us again and again, never make the symbol more important than what it symbolizes. Never make the ritual more important than where it's pointing. So back in ancient times, as in modern times, it's always been ultimately about waking up to that inner light, the true essence of who you are, that never stops burning and sustaining each of us, even when the world seems to have given up on us. And we all move through those times because we're all constantly in a state of growth. That is, a state of dying out and being reborn. You know, the person I was yesterday is not suitable for today's experience. So that's when it's really important to look within and know that inner light is always ready to sustain you and bring you comfort, and know that you're moving into a higher consciousness and hence a greater life experience in all areas of life. And so next time you're driving at night and you see that house on the block decked out in Christmas lights in a way that would make Clark Griswold jealous, or when you bring in that evergreen tree, mount it in your living room floor, and hang the pretty decorations and lights on the branches, or when you get together with friends and sing the Christmas carol classics, like we were doing this morning. Let all those things be a reminder of that inner light that never goes out. So if that's really the essence of our holiday traditions, it's no wonder that a master storyteller and writer from the 19th century found this to be his favorite time of the year. So much so that his very name and the story he's best remembered for have become an integral part of our celebration. The man I'm talking about, of course, is Charles Dickens, generally regarded by literary historians as the greatest author to come out of England, second only to, who knows?
Shakespeare.
Yeah, William Shakespeare. So to explain where I'm going with this, let's take a brief look at his life. Now, for the first 10 years of his life, Dickens thought that his family was rich, and all the evidence was there. They lived in a big house with servants, always had plenty of food, he always had plenty of toys. The parents were well respected by the community, best schools, the ideal picture of family in 19th century Victorian England, until one day when young Charles was about 10 and a half years old, close to 11, there was a loud and angry knock at their door. And when his father answered it, there stood a creditor who his father owed quite a bit of money to, and behind him a very big and mean-looking constable. And the constable said to his father, "John Dickens, you're under arrest for indebtedness. You're going to have to come with me to debtor's prison." And his father turned to young Charles and said to him, "Oh, woe is me. Our family has fallen on hard times and shame." That's how Charles learned of his father's major personality flaw. He had terrible, terrible money management skills. So off John Dickens went to debtor's prison. Now, a debtor's prison was not like Elmwood Correctional Facility or what we would think of as a prison today. Rather, it closely resembled a neighborhood of low-income housing. You know, if you go to the most rundown part of San Jose, it would probably give you a good idea of what it looked like, except for one difference. There was a large, heavy gate surrounding the neighborhood. And when a man was sent there, his entire family usually went with him, since they would usually have nowhere else to go. And that included the wife, all the children, the pets, and even the servants, since they would also have nowhere else to go. And once you were sent there, that's where you stayed. There were only two ways to get out. Either you died and the rest of the household was evicted and left to fend for themselves, or one member of the family could go out and work to chip away at the debt. That was usually relegated to the oldest male child in the family. So at the age of nearly 11, young Charles gave up his schooling and his toys and his comfortable life and began working full-time at a job that was secured by a family friend. And some job that was. 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, working in a shoe polish factory. Well, back then, all the boots were black, and so they needed frequent polishing. So the black polish was cooked up in giant cauldrons and poured into bottles by hand with a ladle. And Charles' job was to put a cork in the bottle, paste a label on the side, then put it in the crate. Next bottle, cork, label, put it in the crate, cork, label, crate, and on for 14 hours each day. Then take his tired self home to the room he was boarding at, rest up for another 14-hour shift the next day. Fortunately, young Charles was an intelligent boy and decided to make the best of a terrible situation. He decided to make a game of it. So he and another boy who worked at the same job alongside of him got into a competition of who could cork and label the most bottles in a given amount of time without spilling any of the polish. And this competition resulted in a significant increase in production, which of course pleased the employer very much, so much that they decided to place the two boys by the front window of the factory as sort of an advertising and public relations scheme, and feature the two speedy urchin boys in their corking and labeling competitions. At first, this made Charles very proud. He loved being the center of attention and appreciated by this employer. But it wasn't long before he noticed that many businessmen from the neighboring businesses on the streets were making bets on how many bottles he could cork and label in a certain amount of minutes. And he noticed how a huge amount of money was changing hands, while he was still working harder than any child his age should ever have to, and for meager wages, which he would never see. And he realized that these people who had no concern for him whatsoever were getting richer at his expense, and he felt terribly ill-used, and this filled him with a sense of shame and resentment, which followed him well into adulthood. Don't worry, there's a happy ending here. Eventually, his father's debt did get paid off, and the family was released from prison. And in time, young Charles grew up and moved away from his family and began his career as first a journalist and then an author. And his novels were first read as a serial in a local newspaper or monthly magazine, because bookbinding was an expensive procedure in those days, and very few people could afford books. So you would reach a much bigger audience by submitting a chapter at a time each week or month to a newspaper or magazine. And needless to say, he had found his calling. All throughout England, the people just couldn't wait to read the latest installment of each story. And his stories had a common thread to them. In most of them, the main protagonist, or at least an important character in the story, was a child between the ages of 10 and 12. And each of these young protagonists were thrown into a really bad situation due to the malice or negligence of the adults who were supposed to be taking care of them. And the child protagonist would go through several adventures, and in the end, one of two things happened. Either, the most preferable ending, would be that a kind and virtuous adult would find their way into the child's life and take them in and make the remainder of their childhood a good one. Or the other ending would be that the child dies before they reach their 13th birthday. And in either case, all the shame and degradation that was heaped right back onto those who caused the child's terrible situation in the first place. Now, Dickens wasn't just writing about what he knew. I mean, that's common advice for writers, and it's probably correct. But he was also healing the shame and resentment that had plagued him since his painful childhood. And he was making society pay for what they had put him through. And they paid dearly. Not only in money, though he did become hugely wealthy by his writing, he never lost sight of that, but also by bluntly making them aware of how dreadfully off many children had become as the result of their thoughtless, mindless social system. And he made them enjoy it. Waiting for the next chapter to come out in the next edition of the paper or magazine was like us waiting for the next episode of our favorite show on Netflix. And he had a gift for taking the reader into the world of each child. Oliver Twist, Nicholas Nickleby, David Copperfield, of course, Tiny Tim in A Christmas Carol, which we'll take a closer look at in just a minute. And in the story, The Old Curiosity Shop, Little Nell. She was the first girl he created as a main character, Up until then, they had all been boys. But for this story, he decided his readers really needed a punch-in-the-gut wake-up call. So this was probably the saddest story he had ever written. Little Nell was a sweet and virtuous 12-year-old girl who his readers all fell in love with, and she was being raised by her grandfather, who had a terrible gambling addiction. And during the course of this serial, Dickens was getting letters from readers pleading for a happy ending for this girl. Several from church prayer groups praying for little Nell to live. But, spoiler alert, in the final chapters, she doesn't live to see her 13th birthday. Punch in the gut wake-up call. Now, throughout the second half of the 19th century, there was a huge cleanup job throughout England. The debtors' prisons were taken out of commission one by one. The workhouses that orphans spent their childhoods in were closed down. And the abusive boarding schools were either closed or much more heavily regulated. And many child labor laws were put in place. And historians credit Charles Dickens as a major thrust toward this cleanup job. They say he inspired this change more than any politician or social worker. And he did it not by political coercion, but by art, by storytelling. Now, how many of you would like to have your own version of that experience? That is, of letting whatever gift you have be a bright light to help heal any of the many things that need healing in our world. And getting your own inner child healed of whatever experience in your past may still be haunting you. I know, I'm preaching to the choir, but we actually get several good lessons on how to do that from the story that Dickens is best remembered for. As I mentioned before, A Christmas Carol. A story that's probably quite familiar to most of you. It's had more adaptations than any other I can think of. Seems every year we get a new rendition of it in the form of a new movie or cartoon or even an episode of a sitcom. And they range from very silly to very dark. But I recommend all of you buy or borrow from the library a copy of the original book and explore it in its original context. And as a student of this teaching, see what important lessons you can pull out of it. So just as a quick summary, because my time is running out here, the story begins by introducing us to a very troubled individual by the name of Ebenezer Scrooge. And in the first few pages, we're given a lot of evidence that this is not a very nice guy at all. He's harboring a lot of misery and leaving the stench of the misery with everyone he comes in contact with. Until one Christmas Eve, he gets home from a routine, miserable day at the office and encounters the wandering spirit of Jacob Marley, his old business partner who had died 7 years earlier. And Marley tells Scrooge something to the effect of, "Take it from a guy who learned the hard way. You're on a destructive path, and you have been for quite some time. But the good news is, I've dispatched 3 spirit guides to help bring some clarity to you on this matter." Now, I think if most of you in this room had that kind of experience, a direct message from an old friend who had passed on and was given the gift of 3 spirit guides, I think most of us would be thankful and thrilled. But Scrooge was not at all. But he was way too frightened to argue. So Marley went on his way, and Scrooge was left to await the first spirit guide, and it arrived a few hours later, introduced itself to Scrooge, and took him on a journey through his past. And in this journey, he relived his painful childhood, then watched himself grow into an adult and develop a paradigm of living from a sense of want. And then he finished that journey, came back with the lesson that he had been viewing the present with the understanding of the past. And it was time to stop that and start viewing the past with the understanding of the present, of the here and now. Did you all get that? Stop viewing the present with the understanding of the past. Start viewing the past with the understanding of the present. So he got a short reprieve before the second spirit guide came along. This one took him out to see shadows of what was currently going on around him. And it gave him a look at the lives of many people, most of whom were seeing the same world he was seeing every day, but with much more clarity than he had ever attempted to. And the end of this journey left him with another important lesson. He realized he wasn't seeing the world as it is. He was seeing the world as he is. And that's the case with all of us. So it's really important to take an honest look at your own self-definition before making snap judgments about what's going on in your world. Particularly when you're watching CNN or Fox News. And after that, the third spirit guide came right into the picture. No reprieve this time, and it was a lot darker and scarier than the first two. And it showed him the world he would help create and would find himself in the near future if he continued on the path he was currently walking. And none of it looked to be a good outcome. And this scared the daylights out of him, or maybe into him. In any case, it left him very upset. But then, the final chapter, he's finished with the last journey and finds himself back in his bedroom. And he realized at this point that he can't change the past or what's immediately before him in the present, but he can make a decision to change his thinking and his attitude and his behavior and commit to following through with it. And so, as another of my teachers, Dr. Kennedy Schultz, once said, there's a little Dickens in all of us. So I invite everyone to let this coming year be a huge blessing for yourself and everyone you come in contact with. And so it is.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you. That was a nice history lesson about Charles Dickens. So, and a lesson for all of us, of course. I saw a version. There were so many different movie versions of The Christmas Carol. There was an Alistair Cook version, and I saw it in the theater. Yeah, I saw it in the theater as a kid. And towards the end, there's actually a scene in hell. He actually goes to hell, and Marley's there. And he's like, "Well, now you're going to get your chains." And he says, "Well, I guess you're going to be like yours." He goes, "Oh no, you've had a lot longer to work on this." And they brought in these anchor chains, big chains. And then he comes into his room. It fades and he comes in his room. That's been cut from the movies. Any TV version of it, that scene's not there. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Probably because they didn't want you to depict hell and scare everybody. So, but thank you for that. Now it is time for the love offering. So if you wouldn't mind, we can use a little money to keep this church going. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Charles. So we have this room for about 4 hours, so we have it till 2:30 today, and so that money's helping pay for that too. In case anybody's wondering, I forgot to bring the signs today. It's like I was driving away and I thought, oh, the signs, I forgot the signs. Well, it's too late now. I think everybody knows where this place is. Thank you, Charles. There you go.
Welcome.
Infinite Spirit. In the spirit of unconditional love, we give thanks for the generous gifts that have been received this day. This offering will work to ensure we continue to gather in your name. May these supporters also receive abundance in their lives. We ask that you bless this gift, this congregation, and this church, and let it blossom as the sunflowers do so well. Amen. Thank you. And as for announcements, the clothing drive, as you probably well know, has ended. And my friends over at Compassion Ministries, they've collected the clothes. And there was 62 pounds worth of clothes. And I told them that. And they says, how did you know there was 62 pounds? Because I just started weighing the bags and doing math, adding it all together. And then I said, it was also a little hard to do because I just have a standing scale. And you put the bag on there, the bag covers up the meter. It's like, so you try to pull it away, but now you're taking weight off of the bags. But I got it. I figured it out. So that was quite a bit. So they were very happy to get that. So there's some needy people that are going to be receiving those clothes. I wanted to tell you about a little update on YouTube. It finally happened this week. I've been editing the videos and adding a title sequence at the front. And there's titles in the lower third for each person that comes up to speak. So it's kind of polishing it up a little bit. And I also cut out the names that we say, so for privacy reasons. So those have been put up on YouTube, and the live versions have been taken down. So today's live version will be up. I'll edit that and change it over, and that's the way we'll go. I finally figured out how to do everything using different pieces of software because it took a little while to figure it out.
That's a lot to do.
Yeah, but now I've got a system in place that makes it real easy. So.
Didn't you also put music for an intro as well?
Actually, I grabbed some music online. So you were telling me about Common
Creative Commons.
not Creative Commons, that was it. So I got a sequence of that. And so there's also information on the description. And they're in chapters. They're broken up in chapters too. So like if there's a part that you want to see and you don't want to watch the rest of it, you go ahead and advance forward to that next chapter. So yeah, cool. Yes, Lynn.
So if anyone would like to see, we have 4 new songs, and I have this little list. If you put your email address, it's full of illustrations and angels and stuff. So you can put it, we'll send them to you.
Okay.
And I'll
Okay.
put it over by the table.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I tried, some of you gave it to me and I couldn't get through on the email, so I'd like you to restate it. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
They all have examples of her brilliant art.
Yeah, that's it. All your art?
Almost all of it.
Almost all of
And
it.
if it isn't, I changed whatever.
Oh, okay.
Stock art myself.
Oh, okay.
Most of it is my baby.
Oh, good. Thank you. Also, I wanted to tell you, if you're a member of this church, we are having a membership meeting. Let's see, it's going to be on the 21st, so that'll be the 3rd Sunday, and it'll be following church service. And we'll be voting for officers for the board. Okay? And we're also going to be having our own board meeting, which I think is probably going to be on the 14th, which is the second Monday. I haven't made it official for everybody, but I think that's what we're going to do. Lisa is our treasurer on the board, and she's in the hospital now, and she's been there for like a week. She had some problems with her medications that was causing inflammation, and so the doctors are trying to get her settled down. I visited her a couple times there, and the numbers are going down, so that's good. And then they come back up again, and then they go down, and they come back up again. So once they're stabilized, then she's able to go home. So we're wishing the best for her. She's also on the healing list. And I think that's about it for announcements. Let's see, our next church service is going to be in January, and what is that going to be? The 7th. The 7th, so we'll have a week into that. We're going to be moving on to billet reading now, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. So I'll go get the basket. Oh, it's up here already. Wow, somebody was thinking it. So we have a number of billets. And since I'm standing up here, I might as well go first. And I'm already attracted to one. This one has a spiral on it. It's folded, it's a spiral. So whoever has a spiral, this is your billet. Yeah, really focusing on that spiral, and it's just spiraling and spiraling. And there's an eye in the center of that spiral. Very symbolic. And that eye is getting bigger, looking. Two eyes looking. It's like I'm seeing like a drawing of two eyes, and the pupils are going back and forth, looking back and forth. Cautiously. There's some hesitancy from this person, a little caution, a little worriedness. They're worried about something. There's a hesitation to wanting to step forward because they're a little bit afraid. They're a little bit afraid. Just they're apprehensive. So there's a lot of caution. It's like there's a lot of concern for something, but I'm not getting what that is. Something going on in their life that they're a little afraid of. They're afraid to step forward, and hopefully that's connected with the message on the inside. Well, it kind of does go with it. This kind of goes with the message. Well, I'm going to G-rate this, but sometimes you got to say, dang nabbit. Just don't care about what those other people are. You are stronger for yourself. Stand on that. Stand for what you believe. Go with that. And if somebody doesn't like it, tough noogies. That is the message. So stand on your own. Stand on your own. You have strength within yourself. Depend on that. Other people can't live your life. They don't know what you've gone through. But you do. So you're justified in your beliefs. That is the message. Okay? Oh, here's one. It almost looks like a lightning bolt. If I hold it this way, it has a lightning bolt. I can almost smell the ozone from the lightning. I'm unsteady on my feet. It's like I just took a little step back. I'm unsteady on my feet. There's something going on. I'm not too sure-footed right now. I'm wondering if this is related to health. I feel like this is related to health, that you're unsure of yourself. It could be blood pressure or something. You might want to get yourself checked out, because I'm getting that you need to see a doctor to get something checked out, because I still feel this unsureness, this the footing, unstable footing. Is like I feel maybe I'm a little lightheaded. My knees are a little weak. It probably wouldn't hurt to go see a doctor. Oh, maybe this is for that person. So I thought it was for you, it's for the other person. Again, seeing the doctor should be able to set things right if that person will respond to it, if they will take the advice of the doctor. I get a feeling that this person doesn't really want to, but you can help with this. You can help with this to make sure that this person follows through with the advice that the doctor gives them. I'm starting to feel more sure-footed now. My knees don't feel like they're wobbling. I feel stronger standing now. So I believe that is the case. So that is the message. And let's see, how many do we have left? I'll do one more, and then we'll go on from there. So
Okay.
there's a little one back over here. Oh, it's Santa Claus. I hope there's not a bunch that are Santa Claus.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, Santa Claus. And as I close my eyes, it's not really about the drawing, it's about the paper that's folded, and it's like the paper's getting folded more and more, tighter and tighter, until it's like this stiff piece of cardboard. Just keep folding tighter and tighter, more folds. I feel like this person has, they like to do a lot of little busy things. So things like the folding to the paper more and more often. It's like they're very tidy, and they do all those little things. So they have a tidy house. Paying attention to the details of everything. Okay. Oh, this is folded quite a bit. I immediately go to the refrigerator. The refrigerator door opens, and I see these juices in the doorway. Juice. I would juice up more. I also see veggie juice, so not just fruit, but veggie stuff as well. I see Ensure. So I get the feeling that this person doesn't really want to cook that much, and so these are like cheating ways in order to get healthier. As a gift, I just recently received a little blender thing. It's a little blender for making juices and stuff like that, so I see that as well. Juicing, blending frozen fruits together with a little bit of milk or something, just to get more nutrition in the body, and an easier way and a more pleasant way to do so. So that's the message that I'm getting. Okay, I think I'm done. Do you want to come up next, or
Sure.
shall we have Sandy? Oh, Lynn wants to too, so.
I can come at the end if you want, after everybody else.
Okay, we'll do that. As we get closer to the end, we'll see how many are left. It's like,
Okay.
I don't want to be touching them.
Yeah. Well, hello, family. Always an honor and a pleasure. So this looks like 3 M's, a heart with an arrow on it, and the letters JJ. Mhm. Well, as I'm focusing in on this, the first thing that I'm getting is a wedding that's happening. And then I'm also getting 2 rings and a beach style setting. But I'm also getting some doubt when it comes to this. Like you are doubting yourself, they are doubting themselves. But I want to say that step back when it comes to that. There is a grandfather who appears before me now, who comes in and places his hands on the shoulders, and he wants to give a lot of support and saying, and he shows me a little watch, a little time, and he says that it's not necessarily that the time is ticking, but that the time is just right. And everything's going to be okay. I'm not going to say love and blessings, God bless. Whoops. And there is absolutely nothing on this. So So, okay. But that's what I get from that. As I touch into this one here, it is a heart. There are many guides that are coming through here. One is a male rate of vibration. And then there is there's a Native American female who comes in, and they are directing you and helping you. And what they are doing is they are showing me that they are trying to help you ground. And they are saying that they are here with you, that you must meditate a little bit more. And they're going to be here with you always. Love and blessings to this person. And I definitely feel like there will be a lot of guidance for this person. I'm gonna do one more. This is a Christmas tree, moon, and a bunch of stars. Very cool. As I'm touching it on this one, I'm seeing a bunch of bills that need to be paid, and I'm also getting a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety. So what they're saying, step back. There is a motherly rate of vibration that's coming in, or a grandmotherly rate of vibration that is coming in, and they're saying step back because I have you, I've got you. You're going to be okay. They're saying, God bless you. Everything is going to be okay. Now I'm seeing a river, and that river is very smooth. And nothing for you to worry about. Love and blessings. Yes. Okay. Okay.
That just has a heart on it. There's just a heart on this one. As I come into this rate of vibration, there is a heart, but I feel that it's sort of on the broken side, that things have not been going the way you would like romantically. And the things that you like are sort of unhappy at the present time. There is a lady from the father's side of the house that comes in very clearly. I get the name of Helen, or her name begins with an H. She says that this is part of living. At times your heart will be broken, but that means that, hey, it's time to rebuild and get a new one. And I don't mean a transplant. I mean in your heart, you build up your self-confidence again, and sooner or later your heart comes back to you and you're ready to love again. But don't be afraid. Not every situation results in a broken heart, unless you've decided before you came into this world that you're going to learn how to deal with them. This lady is very nice, and I really enjoy working with her. There isn't any message on this, it's just blanked, so I'm going to hope that message was helpful to you. I have one here with 2 little hearts on it, and a star. As I come into this rate of vibration, I'm not seeing the heart and the 2 stars. I'm seeing the set symbol. I guess it's a Celtic symbol of the full moon with the beginning moon and the ending moon, so that this tells me that things are going the way they're supposed to be. Things are in progression from the new to the present, to the path, to the future, and things, the moon doesn't change because of what's happening to us. We change because of what's happening to us. And it's time to learn that we can't change the world, but we can change how we react to it. Be happy. Things are going smoothly, the way they're supposed to be. My mother is standing right behind Avery. Yes, but it's going to take some time and some work. I'll do this one here. Well, there's nothing on this one. It's totally blank on both sides. And inside it says, love to all. As I come into this rate of vibration, there is a feeling of peace and contentment. There's also a feeling that, are these little problems ever going to end? And the answer comes up, no, they're not going to come to an end. There will be something will always be disturbing you or your environment or the people around you, but love to all. That's the answer. Love to all, and be on a steady rate of vibration. Lynn?
Okay, I have one that is it looks like a face with a little hair on it too. This person has an imagination that is quickened at this time of the year, and a little bit of mischievousness also in their personality. An enjoyment of some of the delicacies and the nice tastes of the year, but maybe thinking of somebody who is absent, not necessarily in spirit, but absent. So let's see if there's guidance on that. The answer is yes, and to the question, and that having a bit of playfulness, letting the playful, you had a playful part long ago that was not encouraged at an early time, and this is your time to be playful, mischievous, to find things that you just enjoy for the simple fun of it, and that will help you with that issue. This is a kind of a heart with a face and ears too. This is a person who wants to put their optimistic, to be optimistic, but sometimes there are inner doubts and concerns. And I'm getting that also the vibration of the world, the state of things comes in and affects that. But if you are close to animals or nature, water, you need a kind of a shield so that loving creative self, and to do something creative, that's very good for you. I think that the answer to that is not only in your hands, but asking that those that help with that person are divinely guided by angels, and also knowing that you have a magnetism of healing within you by the depth of your caring, and at a distance or in person, as we do here, you can share that healing and make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for coming up here to give these messages. I wanted to close with a special prayer that somebody sent to me that I thought I really liked it, so I'm going to recite that prayer instead of the usual benediction. Our Lord, in the spirit of your gratitude and the love you continue to cover me and my family with, I will continue to give thanks and serve others with this love and caring. I give thanks for those who give this love and caring without question. I give thanks for those who were there and will be there to comfort us and allow us to comfort them in helpless situations. I give thanks for the light of your love and the help to be mindful of those who will need us tomorrow. I give thanks for the forgiveness, warmth, and the ability to love that you have taught and given us. Amen.
Amen.
So thank you for attending the service, and momentarily we'll begin the potluck portion, and we also have some raffle tickets to sell, so we have some gifts to give out. Oh, and also I want to tell you, on your way out, go ahead and pick up one of the boxes. There's a crescent ornament in there for everybody. So make sure to take that before you leave. Okay? So thank you everyone.